Many people who can say that Beyonce, yes, Queen Bee, Mrs. Carter, however you call her, is one of his fans. So last year in November, he became the first black male influencer to release his own line with Misguided. If you're not familiar with Misguided, they are an online retail fashion seller. Yeah, get my words right. And yeah, he made history with that. And I'm very glad to say that Mr. Hayden Williams joins us on the line now. Hello, Hayden.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Hayden, let's get into it, okay? Because you made history back in November. Usually it's the celebs, that are working with these brands. How on earth did you get to do it? Because you're a self-taught illustrator and fashion designer. How did you manage to strike this deal with Misguided where you had your own line come out?
Well, I think it was kind of just like a natural progression. Everybody, I'm predominantly known as a fashion illustrator. Everybody has seen pretty much, my sketches one way or another. And I've always had the goal of wanting to have my own clothing collection. So my goal is to have a luxury high-end label. But I thought, you know what, it would make sense to have collaborate with an established brand like Misguided, and make something accessible for my followers because, obviously a luxury price point, not everybody can afford that. And I think it made sense to do something that was more accessible, but still be able to offer my style, kind of like my illustrations, but in actual clothing form. So it just worked out, and the CEO of Misguided, Nitin Passy, he's his story is incredibly inspiring as well, and a fellow person of color also, and it just kind of it made sense. It was the perfect kind of match, I think.
So we were being really formal there. I've got to be honest with the listeners. Hayden's actually one of my really good friends. But his story is still so inspiring to me because you've had this deal with Misguided. But if we rewind the clock, about 10 years ago,
Yeah.
you were just this regular guy from Tottenham originally, but living Essex way or East London rather. And you were just uploading pictures of your designs on social media. So talk us through that, which platforms were you using? Did you have this strategy in mind where you were like, I'm going to put these out there with a view to building a career? Talk me through that.
I mean, there was no strategy really, and I think that's what made it so pure. I think even just for a lot of people back then using social media, there wasn't really like a marketing strategy or anything like that. It just was very organic. I just remember, I've been drawing since I was 3 years old. It's something I've, been doing my whole life. So I wanted to kind of, at first, in the beginning, I was using social media platforms like Twitter and stuff like that to share my kind of just day-to-day thoughts and updates on my kind of college experience. Because at the time, I'd kind of just started college to study fashion design. I'd been drawing all that time before, and then I thought, okay, the next stage is to, for me to take things to the next level, to go into design, is to go and study. So I was kind of sharing my day-to-day kind of, how things were going at college. And then I thought, okay, I have all these illustrations. Why not start sharing them and see if there's any other people out there that have the same kind of interest and passion as me, and kind of like in a way to make friends and see if there was anyone else that loved doing, what I was doing, just drawing so frequently. And, I don't think I really found anyone that was like me, but I did, get a lot of support. And the slowly but surely, just followers started building. And I just kind of, I think what really started to make an impact is when I started to just showcasing my artistry and kind of combining what I do with pop culture. I think I started to, I was putting out my own creations, my own designs via illustration, but then I started to merge it with celebrity and Hollywood, and I would kind of draw celebrities wearing my own designs rather than just kind of redrawing them wearing something that we've already seen before. I would put them in my own creations, and then that kind of made me stand out. And I think that kind of just really made celebrities kind of drew them in, I'd say.
And were you scared at all when you first started sharing them? Because I know I'm asking the listeners if lockdowns made them consider a career change, and I mentioned that before getting into the BBC, I put my own content out there, but I was scared, Hayden. You know, I think I've messaged you and our other friend Jackie a few times, like, guys, should I put this out there? I'm scared. I've even had other friends have to like press the publish button for me because my mind's running at 100 miles per hour and I just get worried about the views and all of that. Obviously, we're talking about 10 years ago, but did those things cross your mind?
At the time, I think it was it was before that kind of like overall pressure. I'd say like it was a lot more just free, and I think a lot more people like even just I was late to Instagram. I joined Instagram a little bit later. I remember at the time I had like a BlackBerry, and then my friends like Jackie and everyone was saying to me, you should get an iPhone. And then I remember getting tweets and stuff, people saying that you really need to get on Instagram because people are uploading your illustrations on there. And so I started to kind of, I was like, okay. And then I remember my BlackBerry just like died, and then I had no choice but to get an iPhone. And then I started on Instagram. I think I joined in 2012 and started uploading there. And it just kind of, I think it just, at the time, it was the earlier stages, it just didn't feel like there was that much pressure. It was just sharing organically. And then the growth happened organically, So I think now it's different because people are coming into it with kind of, they're seeing other influencers or other, people's success, and they kind of tried to have a strategy, and they tried to kind of think about like, hey, how, when's the right time to post, and what's the kind of, the best thing to post, and, maybe trying to emulate other people and other people's, what they're doing. And I think back then it just felt a lot more just simple and a lot more organic, I think.
Yeah, and if anyone takes a look at your profile, we'll obviously put the handle out at the end of the conversation or the end of the interview. There's a picture of you and Rihanna hugging each other.
Oh, gosh.
Yes. You look so young in it. We love it. But those around you know that she played such a key role in your career and helping you get even more exposure than what you were getting. Tell me about that story, because I think it's amazing. I'm such a huge believer in everything happening at the right time, and it seemed to be the case for you with this.
Absolutely. I think, as you said, we've discussed this before privately and stuff, but I just think, divine timing, all of that, everything happens the way it's meant to happen, when it's meant to happen. That was, I think, 2010. I remember this was before I joined Instagram. This was before Instagram, I think, even was, a thing. Twitter, I remember, this was pretty much like the first illustration that I kind of started to combine the whole pop culture, element. I remember seeing her Loud album cover had just come out, and I remember seeing it, and as a kid I was so inspired by different Disney characters and especially Jessica Rabbit, and that album cover and that whole era, with her red hair, it kind of gave me that same vibe. And I remember seeing that album cover and being inspired, and I wanted to kind of create my own interpretation of it. So I took kind of her face and then extended the whole thing and made it a full outfit. That kind of sultry shot of her, her eyes kind of closed, but then I kind of made it into a full look with, an outfit. I did this kind of like baby doll, 2-piece kind of blush pink look. And I remember like before she even saw it, like it started to gain a lot of traction. I remember on Twitter, people kept on retweeting it. And I remember like her fan pages were retweeting it, and every day it just kind of grew. And I was like, okay, this is clearly, something is happening here. And then I remember one day I just got, she saw it. She literally followed me and then DM'd me straight away. And then it was like, I remember just running around like a headless chicken. Like I didn't know what to do, because I think it was just kind of a bit, that was my first kind of, like just kind of like running around, like not really sure what to do. Because I was like, so it was such an excitement. And I'd never had that happen before. This was the first time, I'd been putting out my designs and sketches, but they weren't really celebrities. So to have her just all of a sudden just, show me love, I was kind of scared to read the DM at first. And then I read the DM, and it was like, she was like, like, what did she say to me? She said like, oh my God, your work is sick. That baby doll is money. We need to do something together. Like, where are you from? Like all of this, like she just kind of, all these questions. And I was like, like, I don't know what to do. And then,
how long did it take you to respond to her message?
Oh well, not too long because obviously I don't want to keep her waiting. But but it was still a moment where I had to really register what was happening, and I was like, and it just kind of continued. I remember just months after that, we just were back and forth. I remember having a lot of conversations with her, and she's been supportive ever since. I remember she released a music video not long after for S&M, and then I did an illustration of that, and I remember she put that as her Twitter profile picture for like, it must have been up there for at least probably a month. And that gave me
Wow.
just incredible exposure. So it was kind of like, and then I remember after that, like press stuff started to happen. I remember like, I think it was, CBS New York or something. They did an article saying, Rihanna's favorite illustrator. And that was like my first piece of big press coverage. It was like just things like that. It started to snowball. I think she really did, her support and you can see her interests. She's a musician, yes, and incredibly successful, but she also has a love of art and fashion. So she's definitely been supportive of me, and I think just her being supportive has it was kind of like a domino effect, and then after that it was just like a plethora of celebrities after that just kind of started to give me show me love.
And so, when she reshared your post and you got all of this attention and press, was it at that point that you thought, wow, I could actually build a career from this? Or was it a case of, oh, that's great, I'll still draw these on the side kind of thing?
Well, it was kind of like a little mixture. I think, this was still the earlier stages. And for me, what I'm proud of is that I didn't kind of let that, I didn't become complacent even with that, because at the end of the day, yes, she's a superstar, and, she's an even bigger superstar now. And she's still, I still, have, talks with her now, but it's kind of one of those things where I didn't really let that kind of overly phase me, because I still was diverse in what I was creating. I didn't want to, it to be a situation where it's like, okay, Rihanna's, showing me love. Oh, let me just stick to drawing Rihanna. It was, there's so many other things that I love to draw, and other people that I wanted to draw and illustrate and design for. And so I just kind of kept going and kept on doing, my thing. And she was still supporting, but at the same time I had other, ideas and other things I wanted to do. And I think it worked in my favor, because I didn't kind of box myself in, and it allowed me to kind of garner other fans and other celebrities. It just kind of I didn't close myself off from creating other things, and I think I knew before then I knew it was going to be my full time, because I knew either way I had to be doing something in the creative field no matter what, and designing and illustrating, it had to be my career. But I think that gave me that extra like boost of like, yeah, I'm doing something right here for sure.
And speaking of other celebs that you've worked with, you did a collaboration with Rihanna and Kate Moss.
Yeah.
Your work's featured in Naomi Campbell's book. I mean, when you look back on it now, do you think you'd have the career you did had you not have used social media?
Oh my god, it's hard to say. I personally think that social media has been played such a huge part in just everything that's happened for me. I always think to myself, actually, like, okay, what would my career or life had been like? Like back in the day, I guess we had to look at my parents and things like that, and I guess you could say you'd have to probably have like hand out flyers. I don't know, like it's weird. Like you think about it and you think to yourself, like, what would you be doing to kind of get yourself out there? And kind of getting yourself seen. And obviously that, social media wasn't a thing. You would find another way. I know that I would definitely still, have found a way to get my art out there, and whether it's a gallery or some sort of, exhibition, I've been blessed as well to exhibited my work in different, places. But it's one of those things where I think social media has definitely pushed, my work to places I never even imagined. And yeah, I think it's difficult to say, but I personally believe that social media has definitely been a huge thing for me.
And I hope this never happens, but worst case scenario, imagine if you lost your account. We've been talking about issues.
Why are you trying to sneak that into my life?
No, but I'd just like to know, what impact would that have? Because you've built this incredible career off social media. Imagine if that happened, where would you be?
No, it's a real question. I think it's one of those things where I think now I've been so blessed that I've been able to make such an impact with my art and everything that I've done, that I feel like, you know, and art as well, it outlives you. So I feel like this even if, you know, Instagram or, you know, whatever, all these different platforms kind of disappeared tomorrow, I think the art is everlasting, you know, the impact is everlasting. And I think that in itself is I didn't realize it before, you know, in the early stages, but now it's like I understand the impact that art makes on people. And so I think, yeah, if social media wasn't a thing anymore, I've been able to make that impact already, and I've kind of built a foundation to where I feel like I could still, you know, if I was to kind of, you know, start again, or, you know, I've already kind of built this following to where people would kind of, I think, find or seek me out in some way, you know, or another.
Yeah, and obviously I'm talking to you during a very weird time in the world, coronavirus. You rely on social media for your work and your career. How's that impacted you?
It's impacted, you know, everybody, and it's kind of like it's crazy, you know. I mean, I've spoken to you about this, and, you know, early in the year I was like, oh, you know, my plans are to go on holiday and I'm going to treat myself, because every time I've been away, it's usually work related stuff, you know, travel wise. But this, you know, year was like, you know, Corona was like, no, you're not going to be traveling. So it was, you know, a lot of plans and things to just kind of, because I wanted to take a break this year as well, and I wanted to kind of, you know, give myself that, because I think working for 10 years straight and putting out illustration after illustration, you know, you can, you know, get a little, you know, you need that break.
Of
you know,
course.
It's a healthy break.
No,
you know?
I hear you. But in terms of work, though, because, you know, I am asking listeners to tell me if they've considered a career change because of this time that they've had a chance to think about it. And sometimes social media can be like this world we see but we don't know enough about, and you are there with 1.2 million followers. You've had all of these deals, so it'd just be nice to like get that insight. Has it like made you have to postpone things? Has it made you work differently? What's it done in that respect?
Okay, so I think in terms of creative, I've just been still being creative. I've been taking things a little slower and just kind of, you know, almost still giving myself that break, but still creating and still being quite consistent like I always am. But at the same time, in terms of business and collaborations, there were things that, you know, I worked on last year or earlier in the year that have been delayed, because obviously if you're working with collaborating with a brand, you know, if it's something that's going into production, or if it's something that's, you know, with factories and all of the stuff that's going on, you know, things get delayed, and so, you know, things get postponed, and, you know, that's a natural thing. So things will probably come out at a later stage. But I think right now I'm in this kind of moment where things are kind of kicking back off again, and it's like, you
exciting.
know, we're kind of like, go, and so yeah.
Okay, so I've got a couple of questions for you, Hayden, to wrap things up. Seeing as the majority of your career has been on social media, I'm going to test you to see how well you know your Instagram page.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
So another one of Hayden's A-lister celebrities is Naomi Campbell, one of the biggest exports in the fashion industry from the UK. She followed him. Hayden, do you remember when she followed you?
Oh, she followed me on Twitter. She saw an illustration I did of her, and then
No. When did she follow you on Instagram?
On Instagram?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Ooh. Probably not long after Twitter.
Okay,
Maybe
well,
like.
you've got pressure now. I'm gonna put a clock on.
Oh, really? Oh, that's horrible. I'm gonna say maybe like 2014 or something. 2013, 2014.
What's your final answer?
2014, I'm going to say. Maybe.
2014?
Yeah. How are you going to know the answer to this? Because how do you even know?
Good, but you're wrong.
Oh, my goodness. How did you... Okay, right. Wait a minute. How did you know? How do you know?
Because I've been stalking you ahead of this interview.
Oh, my Lord, Anita. That's hilarious.
The answer is 2013.
Oh, my God. I was close. Right? Do I get a point?
No, you don't. I've got one more question for you.
Okay.
So, when did Beyonce put your design on Vogue's, or when did the Beyonce design go on Vogue's website?
Oh, gosh. That was probably 2013 also, or 2012. 2013, maybe.
Is he right? Yes!
Oh, my goodness. I got something right. Woo!
Hayden, it's been incredible talking to you. Thank you so much. Where can people follow your journey and be inspired by your incredible work?
Well, thank you for having me. It's an honor talking to you here. And yeah, everyone can follow me on, on Instagram, Hayden_Williams. And yeah, Hayden Williams Illustrations. Just type in Hayden Williams Illustrations on Google. I'm sure it will give you all my kind of, links and platforms.
Thank you so much, Hayden. Speak to you soon.